So here's a situation you've probably seen. Your sales department, they've got their BI tools totally dialed in. Finance, they're an analytics powerhouse. So why is it so incredibly hard to scale that success across the entire company? Well, today we're going to break down that exact journey, from a handy departmental tool to a core strategic asset for the whole business. You know the feeling, right? You're in a big meeting, and the finance team puts up a revenue number, and it doesn't match the number the sales team has. The entire meeting just grinds to a halt. And instead of making decisions, you spend the next hour arguing about whose data is actually right. It's frustrating. So just how big can this chaos get? Look at this number, 850,000. That is the number of Excel spreadsmarts one company found on its corporate servers. And yeah, a spreadmart is exactly what it sounds like, a spreadsheet that's acting like its own little independent data mart. Now just imagine trying to get one consistent answer from that mess. It's an almost perfect picture of how data can get completely out of control. And you know what? This chaos, this mess, it actually has a name. We're living in the age of analytic silos. And the tricky thing is, nobody builds these things on purpose. They just grow organically, department by department, until the whole organization is just tangled up in this web of disconnected and often conflicting information. This definition really hits the nail on the head. An analytics silo is basically a BI island. You've got marketing over here on their island with their own tools and their own definitions. Finance is on another island with theirs. Operations is on a third. See the problem? Everyone's solving their own immediate problems, which is good, but nobody is speaking the same data language. And this isn't some rare thing. For a lot of companies, this is just the default state. And you can see right here how this problem just snowballs. As companies get bigger, they just keep adding more and more tools. And get this, while this chart shows an average of maybe 3 to 4 times vendors, the total number of individual BI tools in a big company, it often balloons to over a dozen. Think about that. That's more than a dozen different ways to get a dozen different answers to the very same question. It's no wonder nobody agrees on the numbers. So, okay, how do we fix this chaos? The very first thing to realize is that this isn't about a quick tech fix. You can't just buy a new tool and call it a day. It's a journey. It's about organizational maturity. It's a move away from that free-for-all approach to a much more coordinated and, honestly, a much more powerful enterprise strategy. There's actually a model for this journey. It starts out in infancy, right? Every department for themselves, total local control, which of course leads to total chaos. Then you move into the child stage. You start seeing these cool little pockets of analysis, but the data is still all over the place. Now, the teenager phase. This is where it gets interesting. Enterprise standards start to show up, but just like a real teenager, this creates conflict with the local teams who feel like they're losing their freedom. And the goal, where we all want to get, is the adult stage. A solid infrastructure that perfectly balances the big picture enterprise needs with that local flexibility. It's all a trade-off, really. You give up a little bit of control to gain this enormous enterprise-wide power. So how do we actually start building this foundation? Well, here's maybe the most important takeaway of this whole thing. The foundation isn't a server. It's not a piece of software. It's about getting the people and the strategy right first. The most critical pillars for success are completely 100% non-technical. And the motivation, the real push for this change, it has to come from real-world business pain. This isn't just an IT project. I mean, think about it. When an executive is frustrated, waiting almost a full week for something as basic as a revenue report, that's when things start to happen. The demand for an enterprise solution has to be driven by real, tangible business frustration. And the sequence here is absolutely critical. It has to happen in this order. First, the business feels the pain. Second, a strong, respected executive has to stand up and champion the cause. Third, the business, not IT, has to own the project. And finally, and this is the step that so many companies get completely backward, you create your strategy before you even start looking at tools. Don't go tool shopping first. Okay, so once you have that leadership and strategy locked in, now we can start talking about the actual building blocks. And the single most important block is creating standards, a common, agreed-upon language for the entire organization's data. Now, this might look like a simple little checklist, but trust me, this is where the toughest battles are fought. Just trying to get everyone to agree on what a customer is, that can be an intensely political process. Is it one person? Is it a household? A whole company? It sounds simple, but it's not. But here's the thing. Without these standardized definitions and calculations, you will never, ever have a single source of truth. It's a tough step, but it's absolutely non-negotiable. And this right here, this table shows you the end goal of all that hard work. The trend across the industry is a radical, powerful move towards simplicity. Just look at the OLAP tools category. That's for really complex analysis. Companies expect to go from using almost 3 different tools down to just one. The entire objective is to slash complexity, reduce costs, and create a streamlined, efficient BI environment that actually works. So after all those political battles, all that strategic planning, all that hard work, what's the actual payoff? Why is this whole difficult journey so incredibly worth it?
Well, it all comes back to this. You get consistent information. And what does that mean? It means your meetings are actually about strategy, not arguing about whose numbers are right. You save a huge amount of time and money because you get your brilliant analysts out of the business of being human data warehouses. And ultimately, you align the entire business around common, fact-based goals. You're all finally speaking the same language.
Hey, if you found this breakdown valuable, let us know. Just hit those like and subscribe buttons. It really helps us bring you more explainers on the topics you care about. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Your organization is swimming in data. There is no doubt about that. But does it have a single source of truth? Or is it all just noise?